Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 329. CRM joins the dark side for November 15th, 2024. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Well, we spent the whole pre-show talking politics, and I had no idea you were a, left-wing radical Republican. That's just crazy. Who knew?
I've created a new demographic. Yeah, I'm forging a new path.
Anyway, man, November 15th, the year is almost over. What do we got? 46 days, something like that. This thing is done.
Creeping up on us.
2024 away, looking forward to 2025. Oh man. Anyway, we've got an interesting show, a lot of good news, a lot of, kind of cool stuff. But before that, Tyler, before we get into it, let's take a word from our sponsor.
Are you struggling to get your team trained in using Zoho effectively? Considering the hefty costs of team meetings and onboarding sessions dedicated to Zoho training, there has to be an easier way. Say hello to efficiency with our Zoho team training courses. Zoho CRM made easy. Become a project management pro, top-tier customer support, and maximize your marketing impact. Are you ready to equip your team? Start today at zenatta.com/training and let us lead the way.
Oh, hey. Well, Tyler, the first story is a trivial one, means nothing to me, but to you, it is life-changing, I would imagine, as you are a dark mode person. But CRM, if you are in, is it CRM for everyone now? Is that what they're calling it?
CRM for everyone, yep.
Yeah, so if you're in the old version of CRM, if you click up on your head there and you say, try the new version, it's going to give you some icons down the side. It's going to change the layout a little bit. And then you can choose dark mode if you're a dark mode person. I know you have like a Chrome plugin that turns everything to dark mode, right? But
yeah, I've got a plugin I've been using for a while that does it all for you. But definitely nice to have it built into the tool. Whenever you do use a third-party plugin, certain pages will look funky. CRM is actually one of those. So historically, I've disabled my plugin on that domain because it just looks off. But yeah, so now you can activate night mode, aka dark mode, so black background, white text. It does do a pretty good job at the dashboards and homepage views as well. A lot of the times when tools roll out a dark mode, they kind of make dashboard color coding really neon and bright. They don't do that here, so it actually looks really nice. Again, like Brett mentioned, this is specific to CRM for everyone, so you would need to move over to access this. I'll tell you, I did start using CRM for everyone, and I do have one area that it kind of bugs me. So if you scroll down a little bit, we look at one of those pictures, a lot of the times in CRM, you're looking at a list view. And so the width is pretty important. You want more width than you need height. And now that those menus have moved to the left-hand side rather than running across the top, you actually have less width to work with on these list views. So
you can't collapse that?
Switching back. No, well, I think you can. I think you can somewhere, but most people aren't going to. Just one little bit of feedback, Zoho, if you're listening. Maybe if there's some other way that could be organized, would be nice. But nonetheless, nice to have dark mode. Big improvement there. I think a lot of people end up switching over, especially if you do spend a lot of time looking at the screen. So always happy to see that get added.
I don't know what it is, but I just have never been able to use night mode, dark mode. I did read a study that said that people that use light mode have a higher IQ than other people. So I'm wondering if that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But
could be. I mean, mine is critically low, so that would make sense. And I do like dark mode.
All kidding aside, it's just one of those personal preferences, right? So many people love dark mode, and I just don't know why. I've never been able to wrap my eyes around it. I guess I can't wrap my brain around it in any way, shape, or form. But so many people do love it, and like you say, it is nice not to have a plugin. It'll just work. So there you go. Good job, CRM team. And moving on, if you're a Bigin user, you've always had your tasks, events, and calls split up in the activities module. Now, interesting that so CRM didn't, and now CRM does. And it was quite a major transition that they went through there to split them up. And there were a lot of reasons they were splitting them up in CRM. One, you really couldn't create a classic task Kanban board the way it was before because there were too many issues around it. So they split them up. And they've always been split up in Bigin again. But I guess they didn't have that in dashboards. They were all
and it's kind of in the way that it works is a little funky. So when CRM made the move, it was everything's in activities, then everything's in activities, and they're in split out modules. So it's actually like the same database just being visualized as 3 modules. And then they said, okay, the old database is going away. They're only going to exist now in the new modules. Basically, Bigin released in that middle state where you had the list of all activities, but they were also visualized separately. The problem that always created is like if you want to go into a dashboard and look at like how many calls someone placed last week, without filtering for that, it's actually going to show all the tasks, all the meetings, all these other records. And so they're basically just saying, look, like before it's been one database visualized as 3 modules. Now it's 3 modules. There is no shared database behind the scenes, which does just
CRM.
In the CRM. And now that's in Bigin as well, where they formally actually split it into the different modules.
So now that that's done, I haven't played with this. Can you in CRM, and I imagine in Bigin as well, properly set up a task Kanban view where you're moving them around by stages from one to the next?
I don't think so. I don't think that is possible still. Oh no, you know what? In CRM, you've got task by status as a Kanban view.
You could do a Kanban view task. That's 10 years in the making. Good. That's fantastic. Now if I could, now we'll need something. So can you, and I think in Zoho Mail, you can set an email as a task, but we still don't have unified tasking is something that's still huge in Zoho. Is that whole, they do have Zoho tasks, but that's kind of a whole different.
I don't know if we're going off topic, but I don't know if they're ever going to get there with unified tasking because the tasks based on where they're created are just different. You know, like a CRM task and a projects task just aren't the same. And like, if you think about what you'll need to do with a projects task, like what about dependencies? What about like finish to start visibility? A lot of people want a task list where only tasks show up once they're actually available and all the previous dependencies are completed. You look at Zoho Desk and it's like, well, you're doing a lot of time tracking there and that wouldn't work if you pull it external. So it's one of those tricky ones. I don't know if they're ever fully going to get to like a unified task view nirvana situation just because the nature of those tasks are so different at a pretty core level. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to have all the statuses would have to be the same across all of them, right? And then you want to have some heading that said, well, it's a lot, which is why we're not there. Anyway, moving along. New features and improvements in Desk's integration with Zia powered by ChatGPT. So basically, if someone is doing a search in Desk and Zia can't generate the response from the database it has, it's going to look to ChatGPT to give you the answer for that. Very good. So I think anytime.
Yeah, very nice. I think the one thing I will put on everyone's radar with this is just that the GPT integration here is what's called an open domain, meaning that it's going to pull from the internet as a whole. A lot of the way we're recommending people do this is setting up a custom agent where it's actually just going to pull from a unique database. I would assume that'll be kind of the next step, right? That they'll continue to work on these, of course. But yeah, just be aware that like if you set up a bot and it's going to chat directly with your customers using GPT from open domain data, it can say something wrong, right? Like even, or maybe even something that's not wrong, but not ideal. You know, like before the show, Brett was, goofing around with the new GPT search tool. And he asked it a question about Zoho Sign. It gave him a decent response, and it actually linked one of our videos. One bit of feedback, though, this is an old version of this video. We have a newer version that would be a better response. So for us, when we're just playing around with it, no big deal. But if you were having this chat with your customer, you would definitely want it to give your customer the newest video, the most up-to-date data. So just a word of caution around just having a GPT interact directly with customers. It carries with it some level of risk, especially if it's an open domain GPT.
And I will say, by the way, this is if you haven't installed this yet, it's called ChatGPT Search. So go to Chrome extensions. Now, if you search for ChatGPT Search, there's a whole bunch of third-party ones out there. This is the actual one from OpenAI. So it's the real one, but you can't see because my URL bar is hidden here, but I'll just type in something like perfect 5 days in Rome. And so you do that, and it basically, what I love about this is it not only builds what it considers to be your perfect 5 days in Rome, but it also gives you all of the sources off to the side. So as you're kind of going through it, morning, and it's got voyage tips, and it tells you all of the various things. But I've been playing around with this, it's basically ChatGPT, but really it's open, it's going, it's searching the internet, and it's really putting it together so nicely on a variety of things. Like, if you, like, I did a search like last 5 winners of the Super Bowl. If you do that in Google, it's just like a whole thing. It gives you that weird AI at the top, and you kind of go around and you got to click through articles, and there's this whole mess. This just went ahead and just listed 5. Here they are. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm worried about, if you're a Google stockholder, an Alphabet stockholder, I don't know. It's there's no ads
Weird
here.
Times ahead in that space.
Yeah, but there's no ads. So is that the next thing? Is OpenAI going to start inserting ads in the middle of these things?
My assumption of how they'll do it, it might not be ads within it itself. It'll be sponsored citations. You'll pay for preference, and being the one that gets cited would be my assumption of how this will end up monetizing.
Yeah. And I love how this, so when things aren't perfect, so day trip options, I say 5 days in Rome, and it wants me to take a train to Naples. But anyway, it still is pretty fascinating, and it's curious. The speed at which this is progressing is crazy. And so anyway, but it's a nice little search tool, by the way. I still do keep kind of in my taskbar, I've kept a little Google search, because sometimes you're just not getting what you want. Anyway, moving along with Zoho stuff. So the finance team over at Zoho puts out every single month. They put out a series of updates. They mostly get consolidated in books. We put all of them inside the newsletter, so there'll be one on invoices and one on expense. And anyway, the Zoho books one 90% of the time covers all of that. And so the update for November, a lot of stuff kind of outside the US. So in Germany, you got the X-Richtung, which is basically a secure XML way of sending invoices in the EU. And so they're supporting that now. You can actually send it that way. A variety of other things. There's some stuff for the India edition, more stuff for the Germany edition, more stuff for the India edition. Evidently, those teams were very busy recently building out some stuff. But you now, for everybody, you can now establish multiple criteria in your workflows, which is very, very, very nice. So you can say status is this, if false, then do this. So you're not having to do multiple workflows, kind of one nice build off of that. And you can also write. Go ahead.
One of the really nice things about that is, like, you might have certain scenarios where, let's say you have 2 tiers of customer. One of them, you want to be stricter about email reminders. The other one, you're cool with being a bit more flexible. In the past, you'd have to set up different workflows for those 2 scenarios. Now you can have one that just has a criteria in it, which just saves a lot of time and lets you centralize more of the automated processes into one space rather than having 10 workflows just to handle 10 cases of the same thing. You can just do it all in one, which will be really nice to have.
Very nice. You can now write off your customer opening balance. So you sent an invoice to somebody and they don't pay it. You can just do a write-off now. That used to be a bit of a work. There were a lot of workarounds for that, but it's nice just to do a simple write-off. Auto-populate some customer details over in the Indian edition. Nice here. You can export, bulk export invoices as a zip file. So you can multi-select and export them all as a zip file. That actually is a huge time saver. And you can import and export out of your custom modules now. So you could always import and export out of non-custom modules, but now you can do it out of your custom modules. So you build a custom module. There you go. And that's kind of it. Just small other changes. You can read the article for it. But that is your Zoho Finance, Zoho Books update for November. And moving right along, Zoho Recruit. Simplified skill management and secure custom views. So do you want to talk about this one? You want me to?
Yeah, so simplified skill management, essentially what you're looking at here is that when you create what they call a skill set, so if you scroll down just a little bit, there's like a nice
better picture there.
Yeah, basically, let's say you have a skill set called project management. Within that, there are 4 skills. You can identify each of those as like primary, meaning they're super important for this skill, or you can say they're secondary, where it's like, hey, you need to know Agile, but risk management is a nice to have. So it's just a nice way to kind of organize those skills as you're going through the evaluation process, being able to identify kind of what's most and least important within a particular set of skills. The other one too here around custom views, these are pretty minor, kind of like things you would assume would be there, but now are added. So custom views, of course, is just making like a list in a particular module using some criteria. So now you can add descriptions to those so that if somebody were to hover over one, it'll pop up and say, this is the use case of that view. And then you're also able to lock custom views, which is really nice, especially for larger teams. Basically just that, let's say I make a custom view and I share it to Brett and he adds a new column to it. That adds it to mine as well. And so sometimes for a large company, you might want to say, hey, we as a company are making a decision. This is what this is going to look like. Now you can check a box and actually lock that in so that people can't goof around with your custom views. So a minor one, but definitely a nice one. Again, especially for those larger organizations where you have a lot of different hands in the cookie jar who could be making changes on the fly.
Yeah. Good stuff. All righty, and moving right along. Announcing the Zoho Developer Community Hackathon 2024. Are you a Zoho developer? Well,
I think so.
You can register. You can register for the Zoho Community Developer Hackathon. You can showcase your skills, build a portfolio, and win exciting prizes. You can do it by yourself. You can form a team of up to 3 people. And there you go. Utilize, and you basically submit your entries. Awards are going to be done on December 23rd, so it's like a little early Christmas present for you if you win. I don't know what you can win. It's exciting prizes.
TBD.
I wonder. TBD. I think they're going to go door number 1, door number 2, door number 3.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, kind of give you something to choose.
The old Monty Hall problem. Open the first one, see if you want to change at that point.
Yeah, this is open to everybody. So if you're just a Zoho user out there, but you've done a lot of development, join the Hackathon-a-palooza. There you go. And get going there. By the way, I heard a saying the other day, Tyler. Have you ever heard this? It's not my circus, and those aren't my monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that?
I have heard that, yeah.
You have. It's evidently a Polish saying meaning it's none of my business. Someone had a coffee mug that said, turns out this is my circus, and those are my monkeys, which I thought was pretty funny. But,
very nice.
Meaning it is their business, I guess. So I don't know. You have heard that.
I have heard that, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Probably because dark mode,
Yeah,
that's it. It just kind of
There's hidden text. Yeah, hidden text on a website. Actually,
I'll make the dark mode. For sure. All right, well, with that, let's get to our implementation of the week.
All right, so implementation this week was done by Ben Woida on the consulting team here at Zenatta. This is a CRM automation to notify lead owners when an email that is sent happens to bounce. So in this implementation, really the goal was, the lead owners are the salespeople. A lot of their time is spent doing outbound calling, kind of chasing down prospects that have come in through various sequence of web forms. Based on a lot of that calling activity, the system will then send follow-up emails for them. And one of the challenges that they would have is that the email that could go out may bounce. And, the way it works, you might deliver, and then bounce randomly. And the problem is that bounce can represent either a change in email address, someone gets married, divorced, changed their last name. It could also be they left the company and now are probably not worth calling anymore. And so the problem is, because a lot of those emails are automated, it's pretty easy for a salesperson not to notice that one of them happened to bounce. So what we did here is set up a workflow triggering on the emails module. There's something a lot of people that work in CRM have never noticed, is that in workflows, you can trigger one on leads, contacts, deals. You can also trigger them on emails, basically when an email is sent or received and has certain criteria. So a sent email that's opened or clicked, or in this case, a sent email that's bounced. And then what we can do is run a little script that will create a task on that lead assigned to the lead owner, notifying them that, hey, this is somebody who something happened. Emails are no longer delivering to this person. Maybe they changed jobs. It's time to check LinkedIn and see like, hey, I need to stop calling them. They're no longer here. Maybe it's just that they changed an email address. And if you get them on the phone, ask them, hey, I noticed this didn't go through. Did you change anything? So just an important one to put this on their radar. One of the things with CRM automation is that as we start to automate more and more, there can be those little elements where humans stop looking at it, right? We're not going to look at the emails that often because I know they're going out. I don't need to go look at that list. If they respond, I'll obviously get notified. So I'm not going to stare at the emails list all the time. But these things can happen that then kind of require manual intervention. So we want to look for some of those cases where a person needs to get back involved with the process that's primarily automated. And this is a great example of that.
I love this. It's a small, tiny little implementation, but valuable. It really is.
Yeah.
Super nice. Nice job, Ben. So, with Ben Oida, if he was Japanese, it'd be Woida. But I've tried to get him to change his last name to Ada. So he'd be Ben Ada. Right?
Yeah.
He won't do it, dude.
He asked for too much money. Yeah, he asked for too big of a payout for it.
Ben is not a team player, man. I'm telling you, no. I just want a simple thing. Change your last name. He goes, but it's my dad's name. I'm like, I don't care. Heck, Anyway, let's head over to Club Z and check out our Coach Share of the Week. All righty, Tyler. The Coach Share this week comes from Renato, understanding Deluge code and sharing CRM records in Zoho CRM. So you've got a deal, you're the owner of the deal. Maybe you've got it locked down so nobody else can see that deal, but you want to share that deal. You could actually automate that process. So if a deal's this kind of a deal, then share it with these people kind of thing. And this is that process. This is that process for doing this.
Yeah, so he basically shows how to get the first record, pull a user ID from potentially a lookup field that's on that record, set up your map with the appropriate permissions. There are some options there that he goes through. So do we want to give them full access, read only, et cetera. And then using the share record API to actually, delegate those permissions. And now you might wonder, people who have done similar things before, you'll know that when you add a user lookup field to a record, you can actually at that point delegate permissions just through the user lookup, kind of like a pseudo owner of a record. The situation that you would use this is if at a certain point in the process, they now need to have access, right? So maybe it's hey, I know I'm going to hand this over to Brett, but he doesn't need to see it yet. I'm going to fill him out the user lookup field. And then once this hits closed won, now I want to trigger that share to actually occur. Or it could even be the inverse. Someone has access for the beginning via a script like this, and then you take it away, or you switch it to read only, or you do whatever needs doing. So definitely a nice one. If you're just having two people that are going to see it for the whole life cycle, you might not need this. Just use a user lookup, give it the sharing permissions, and you're good. But if the sharing permissions need to change over time as a record moves through a process, that's where you're going to want to consider using this type of endpoint. And this is a great walkthrough for it. It basically is going to give you everything you need.
Fantastic. Nice job. And if you don't know, Club Z is our online community. We would love for you to come over and, check it out. Basically, it's where all of our users get together, and you don't even have to, just anybody. All we require is your email. You can come in here. You can ask questions. Other members of the community and some Zenatta staff will go in and help you answer them. It's also where you can put questions you'd like to have answered on this show. Any news we may have missed. We also keep track of all the news. Got a couple thousand users plus now, so it's a pretty active community. Would love to see you over here. So come join Club Z. And with that, let's head over to our website, Zenatta.com, and check out our blog of the week. This is a very good one. Zoho's commitment to data privacy and security. Zoho is really, really good around protecting data security, privacy. They kind of follow that whole Apple model of, you know what, this isn't my circus and those aren't my monkeys. It's none of my business.
Nice.
I'm gonna keep this tight, and put aside. Always a tie-in, Tyler. Always some sort of the CM think. Yeah, see, you didn't see that coming, did you? No. See. Anyway, it's a nice article about their security, what they do. We've actually had a lot of clients who need security. We've had to go in and get Zoho's entire security policy, let them know everything runs. One of the things about Zoho is everything does sit on their own data centers. Nothing sits on anyone else's data centers, so they're able to control security very, very well. So there you go. Nice little article on that.
And it is a nice thing. They don't monetize or really have any access into your data. Like, I remember back in the day when we used to feature blogs, sometimes from outside the world of Zoho. You remember those HubSpot blogs we would show every now and then? And they would show this like market trend data based on like deals and leads and things being created in HubSpot. Now, obviously, all that data is anonymized, right? Sure. But that really means that like HubSpot is pulling reports on data from across their platform and then monetizing it by making a blog that advertises their company. And so like even in a case like that where it might not be so egregious of like selling the data, they're still monetizing it, right? They're using it to make their decisions, whereas Zoho really avoids that. So always been an area that we appreciate with them.
Yeah, the old segment, Read of the Week.
Where
eventually we just discovered there was nothing new out there. It was just the same. The tough one was when we would do our pick of the week, which was just random application that we love, which we kind of did this week with ChatGPT search, right? But that one got to be a little tough. Well,
we're really digging through the trenches to find little plugins and things.
A little app.
We really always wanted those things that we used. Right. Or maybe we used for a client or this, that, or the other. But at a certain point, you've kind of used all of them.
We'd always said we'd bring it back, and we never really have. Like, not just like occasionally, right? So it's like, hey, we should just plug it in. I found a cool app. Let's do this. And we've found dozens of them since that period of time. We should probably update some stuff. But we've got one. I think one of our most popular blogs is like 13 must-have plugins and applications for Zoho. I think that one's in there. And we revisit that every now and then and update it because it's got just hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. But anyway, interesting. Hey, if you don't know, over at Club Zenatta, over at Zenatta.com, one of the most popular features we have is, in fact, our resource library. You can go in here. We have all of the Zoho apps. And if you click into any of those Zoho apps, it will tell you what bundles they're in, how much they cost. And it also contains all of the not videos that we've put together. You can find those on YouTube, sure, but they're nicely organized for you here, and you can kind of skim through. Seems like we need to add a few of yours in here, Tyler, that you've been doing recently.
I think so.
Got to get these updated a bit. But head over to Zenatta.com, click on our resource library, and away you go. And with that, speaking of tips, speaking of videos, let's look at our tip of the week. You're a wizard, Harry. Yes, you are. I'm a what? You're a wizard. Wizards tutorial for Zoho CRM. Wizards are powerful. And so,
Very nice.
especially inside CRM. Yeah, this is kind of a step-by-step guide to building a wizard. So take us through this.
Yeah, so really a wizard is primarily used for standardizing the creation of a record. You're kind of breaking the record view into multiple pages and then kind of guiding people through those. So we went through, kind of showed how to set up a basic wizard for creating a lead. We did also do a bit of a bonus tip on the recent update for conditional wizards. So basically showed, hey, if this is a new business, you need some extra info about the account versus if it's repeat, you probably don't need that. So definitely a good one to watch through if you are a wizard user in CRM. It should be pretty helpful.
Very, very, very nice. And then we should actually show the wizard at use here.
Yep, at the back end, I kind of run through actually creating a record using that wizard that we've just put together.
Very, very, very nice. Conditional wizards.
Who knows?
Is Gandalf a conditional wizard? No, probably not.
I guess so, because he does change based on before and after the Balrog encounter. So conditionally, he's either gray or white.
You're a wizard, Tyler. All right, and moving right along, that's kind of it. If you don't know, head over to our YouTube channel. 20,500 people have subscribed to our channel already. We have 719 videos up there covering pretty much everything in Zoho. But we find every day, it's like, oh, we didn't do a video on this, which is why we can do videos every single week. So head over to youtube.com/Zenatta, subscribe, like, and we are here for you. Let us know what videos you want. Leave comments. We do respond. So thank you so much for supporting us there. Another show in the bag.
Another show. Here we are.
I was, sitting here looking at the calendar. I mean, man, the way the holidays fall this year, we're going to be doing some tap dancing, getting all these shows done because we've never missed a show. So yeah. I did plan some interesting stuff on the back end, though. That's going to kind of, I don't know. Did you see all those calendar changes yesterday?
No, I haven't had a chance. I have not had a chance.
Yeah. So I've got, we got to figure out our Christmas show and our year in review show. And Freddie wants to like celebrate Christmas with his family. So I'm like, no, weird. You have to produce a show, dude.
Yeah. It's obvious.
People want us to work around their schedules for these minor holidays. I don't understand what's going on. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to talk to us here at Zenatta, please head over to zenatta.com and in the upper right-hand corner, click on Book a Meeting. We'll be talking to you shortly.
And on the website is also where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, we always appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
The CRM Zen Show was produced by Podcaster Zen.
There's a lot of iterations of that. You could say, that's not my bird cage. Those aren't my birds. That's not my litter box. That's not my cat. I wonder why they chose zoo and monkeys.
Who knows?
Or circus and monkeys.